Get out of my car now! What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 7 of S Version. Today I'm at Sonoma Raceway with Turn 8 Racing. It's going to be my first track day at Sonoma with S2000, third track day total. Thankfully, it's not raining. It is a cold track, but it's not raining, so I'm happy about that. Yeah, I'm super excited. This is my favorite track. Last time I was here was over a year ago in my Honda Fit. I did a 209.99 there. Maybe we can match it today. We'll see. Well, yeah, let's get to it. All right, and now I'm officially on the track. I'm just gonna take it easy. This was on a Sunday, on the 22nd, so they already, did their Saturday event, and I heard from a lot of friends and also just people on social media that are in this track setting, that there was a lot of casualties yesterday. So, I'm just like, okay, let me just take it easy. It's not a lot of people on track right now. So I'm gonna just feel it out. I don't have to worry about backing a lot of people up like I did at Thunderhill. So I'm just gonna take it easy, try to acknowledge all the flag stations. Although I do remember Sonoma's layout a hell of a lot better than Thunderhill. I think my issue with Thunderhill is that all the corners kind of look the same. So I think that's another reason why I'm kind of slow at Thunderhill. Aside from just, being new to the car, but Sonoma Raceway, it's, every part of the track is visually distinct. So yeah, I'm just cruising it, feeling out the road surface, what gears I want to use, kind of just laying the groundwork for the line that I want to do later once I get more comfortable on track. But yeah, this track is my favorite. It's beautiful this time of year. A lot of nostalgia too from Gran Turismo 4, back when it was Infineon Raceway, and then I think before that it was Sears Point. But yeah, this track is awesome. I've only done it twice in my Fit though, which is crazy because, like I said, this is like my favorite track. This was my first ever track day, so there's just a lot of sentimental value. And now I'm coming up on the finish line, and boom, that's my first lap done. Now I'm gonna shut up and put a more faster lap. session is over, I'm just coasting, waving to all the flag stations, acknowledging the corner workers, and I feel really good. Just the weather, not being what everyone thought it was going to be earlier in the week, leading up to this event. It was really, really confidence inspiring. And I was just super happy about that because, driving Thunderhill in the rain is one thing, driving Sonoma in the rain is another. So, I was really happy that I could enjoy a dry track. And it will only get better from here because I did a 2:15 and change in the first session, which is okay. I'm just taking it easy. There's no point in, swinging out the gate. It's just a track day. But I felt really good, like already. And you'll probably see like me getting a lot more confident throughout the day as well. Got this guy here. I don't think he signed the passenger waiver, and he clearly doesn't have a helmet, but whatever. He seems pretty excited to ride with me, so that's pretty flattering. Yeah, this is Burnaby. This is the point where Burnaby thinks I'm a crappy driver, so he just leaves. Yeah, that was pretty heartbreaking for me, not gonna lie. I'm still proud nonetheless, you know, because that fit was on RT615K pluses, and I had to haul some serious cheeks to make that happen in a fit. But yeah, I feel really good, and someone's coming up on me right now. Just acknowledging. I've been doing that a lot lately. I never really did that in a fit because, you know, having people pass me was never really an issue. I could be, you know, wide open throttle and give them a point by, and they'll get by me no problem, and I don't jeopardize my pace because the car wasn't really going anywhere to begin with. But yeah, that's another thing I really have to get used to with this car is being a lot more mindful with my point buys. It wasn't so much of an issue here at Sonoma as it was at Thunderhill, mainly because the lower head count on this day compared to the two previous track days. But it's definitely something I gotta work on for sure. And just like that, the session is over. It's only gonna get better from here. We officially got the car baptized. I got a fat ass Sonoma decal next to this cleaner one. Getting down. I'm gonna have a passenger for the third session of the day. It's the homie Bad Luck Ant. Super awesome guy. He has a really nice GE Honda Fit, and yeah, he's one of the Fit homies. Although I've never actually met him when I had a Fit, which is funny, but oh well, better late than never. Cool guy. I plan on doing an autocross with Speed SF with him, so that's gonna be pretty cool. I can't wait to shoot that episode. It's gonna be awesome. Brakes are not happy. They're fighting, but like you can tell they're hot. I'm like, yeah, I think I get why people are charging like 30K. chucking the car into corners, and you're seeing me kind of saw at the wheel and just trying to keep the car pointing in the right direction. Yeah, I was feeling pretty damn good. The only thing that had me kind of sketched out was the brakes. They were biting for sure, and the brakes felt consistent, but you could tell they were hot. You know, because once you kind of get up to pace and you really start getting on the brakes, they heat the pedal. It has a lot more travel than it normally would, like just driving on the street or doing your warm up lap. So it was consistent, but just feeling that difference, as opposed to when the car is a lot more cooler. It was a little sketch. So that was the only kind of thing I was kind of working with mentally throughout the day. other than that, I felt really good. The car felt good. And yeah, I just really wish I got either like a 2 flat or a sub 2 later in the day. It didn't quite happen, but oh well. It's my first time at Sonoma with this car. You know, what more could I really ask for? So that 204.191 was my best lap of the day at that point, which was the fourth session. And yeah, I was feeling good, you know, as I've been telling you throughout this whole video. And I just, just keep sending it and just having fun. And eventually, I catch up to another S2000. That guy's Kaz. He's also from the city of Maine, so that's pretty cool. Actually, I passed him up on the way to Sonoma in the morning, so that was pretty fun. Great looking car, and I like how he has the cut bumper. That way you can see the HKS Super Soundmaster that he has, which is just a gnarly looking exhaust. And I almost money shit for him. That was nuts. Yeah, that guy has a great looking S2000. Yeah, that HKS looks super dope. Modified GT86 was just on my bumper at the end of this lap. They're clearly moving a lot quicker than me because I didn't see them earlier. Now they just spawned right behind me, so I let her by. And I was like, okay, well, let me try to push myself. Maybe I can keep this car in my sights. And no, this lady was moving. She was moving. Yeah, I even talked to her after the session and, gave her kudos because, yeah, she could drive. She could definitely drive, and I was really struggling and, pushing really hard just to, keep that car in my sights. But nah, that gap was only getting bigger. I mean, there's a reason why she caught up to me and eventually, passed me up. But it was a fun little challenge, and that's actually something I really liked about today was that I could really push, and I was making passes on cars. That wasn't really happening too much at Thunderhill East both days. So yeah, that was really cool, and that felt really good for my mental at the time. And I was like, okay, I know how to get around people and kind of adjust my mind accordingly to make those passes in a nice predictable way. And yeah, that's just being comfortable in my car and being around other cars and getting around other cars. So that was really cool. And then by this point, the black flag came out, and so I'm just kind of cutting down my pace and then just cruising, and just making my way to the track exit and acknowledging all the flag stations and corner workers. It's just good practice. So I'm just cruising, and also a little confused as well because first the black flag came out, and then carousel. I noticed emergency vehicles pulling onto the track, and then I see the checkered. So I'm just kind of like, what is going on, right? And I just go down the S's, just wondering what might have happened. And this ended up being the situation. It was a BMW that had rolled over, and it looks like they smacked the wall. But the driver was outside. He's okay, and that's kind of what matters at the end of the day. So, huge bummer, but hey, cars come and go, fortunately but unfortunately. And that was pretty much the end of the session. So we're in the final session of the day, which is an open pit, so it'll be intermediate 1 and 2 together on track, or at least the people that bother to, participate in the open pit, which is Turnitz's, signature thing. So this is a 30-minute session, and it was pretty cool because initially, after seeing what had happened at the end of the 4th session, I was feeling some type of way, and I just thought, I'm gonna take it easy. It's the last session of the day. Nothing's gonna happen, right? I'm happy with whatever time I ended up with for the day. But then there was another S2000 that went out on track with me. Dude's name is Martin, and I was like, let's pit out together and just play cat and mouse, right? Initially, I was the one leading, but I quickly gave Martin the point by because I just felt like he was moving quicker than me, which he was because he's really, really fast, and his car was set up a lot better than mine. It's modified, still stock power, but his suspension was much better set up than mine. And he was on RT660s, so he had some pretty serious tires compared to my 500s, which is okay, but it was pretty cool seeing the difference in grip levels and suspension setup on track. I'd be kind of dancing around in the corners, and he's just nice and smooth and planted. So I'm gonna cut to the PB lap, and then that'll pretty much be the end of the video because I want to post the whole session in its entirety because it was just really, really good. session done. I got a 201.603, and you can fucking tell on these tires, dude. Holy shit. Stock suspension, fucking 20-year-old bushings. Holy fuck, dude, I had to work for it. God damn. All right, I just got the last session of the day done. I was gonna take it easy. Ended up pitting out with a friend in a AP2 S2000, and we were just playing cat and mouse the whole way. I managed to get a 201.603, which is beyond my expectations. You know, like last time I was here, I did a 209.99 in a Honda Fit, so this is like whole new territory for me, you know, and just like right there, like almost too flat, which is pretty nuts because I'm on stock suspension, freaking ancient ass bushings, and Indy 500s. So I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty satisfied with today. I was gonna take a small break to kind of work on the car a little bit more, stockpile some parts, but I think I might do another one in the near future. And if not, there's gonna be a lot of autocross events happening on Wednesdays with Speed SF, Wednesday nights. So either way, I'm gonna have a lot of content lined up, and I'm only getting better at driving this car. So peace out. I'll see you in the next episode. A word from a S2000 owner: don't trust that fucking fuel gauge. All right, I left with 3 bars reading on the fuel gauge, and I was like, okay, I can do like 7-8 miles to the next gas station, because I refused to gas up at the track, right? And I pulled onto the highway to get home, and the fuel gauge just zeroed out, and the car just sputtered, and now I'm stalled on the highway. Luckily, my friends Spencer and Alex, they're on their way to rescue me. Yeah, this is embarrassing. Yeah, fun stuff. But anyways, since I'm here talking to you, huge shout out to Chubby Miata and Martin. You guys are awesome company today, and yeah, I hope to see you guys at the next one. And now I'm gonna just sit here and wait for my nights in a shining Supra to come save me. By the way, this all happened with my girlfriend. She's right next to me, so like minus like 1.2 Gorillion social credit and aura, dude. Like, fuck it, this car's gonna be on Facebook. I don't have enough aura to keep owning this thing, so yeah, hit me up. OBO, I know what I got.